Hello, everybody. Come on in. Welcome to our Facebook Live this afternoon. We hope you had a wonderful day wherever you're watching this, whatever time that you're watching it. We can't wait to share some really great tools with you today. And we have a special guest from Common Sense Education. So, as a reminder, my name is Alyssa Lyons. I'm the educational content lead here at EVERFI, supporting our teachers across the globe with not only understanding EVERFI's resources and content, but also the collaboration piece. There's so many great tools out there. How can we support you in connecting with your students? I'm a former third grade teacher, so I'm so excited to have a fellow former elementary teacher with me here today. So I'm going to kick it over to Jennifer to introduce herself.
Hi, Alyssa. It's so wonderful to be here. Yes, I am the senior education manager at Common Sense Education, which means, what does that really mean? It means I'm working with educators across the globe to implement different digital citizenship activities and resources throughout their classrooms. And yeah, I was a former elementary. I taught a lot of second grade. I was in the second grade world.
Wonderful. Yep, definitely. I can tell the creativity is definitely that elementary teacher vibe for sure. But that's wonderful to know. And I'm just curious because from your classroom experience to now working with teachers from all over, what's your favorite part about educational technology in the classroom?
Oh, I got to go with one of the C's, creativity.
Mm-hmm.
It is amazing to see how creative students can be with different platforms of technology and the tools they have, in their hands. Some of the cool things they can do now, it's amazing. Even at the younger ages, what they have the capability of doing is just incredible.
No.
So
They pick up on it so quickly. They're teaching us how to do things.
Oh, for sure. Yes. Most of them are intuitive, but not always. But they're really creating some cool videos and comics and slideshows and podcasts and, you name it. They've done it. And it's just really cool to see unfold.
Yeah, for sure. I love that. Well, I love that you touched on one of the C's, because I think that's the biggest part that we're going to touch on today is just the collaboration piece. We're both really passionate about that digital citizenship piece, making sure that our students are safe physically, mentally, socially, it all comes together. And after being on, the computers and continuing to be on computers for everything that we do in life, this is a really important tool for K through 12. So we're going to jump into our conversation today. And I just want to first give you an overview of EVERFI. If you haven't heard of it, or maybe it's a time that you haven't peeked into our catalog because it's always growing. It is quickly filling up with new resources. So I'm going to share my screen just to dive into a few of the resources that we are going to go over today. But if you want to join me, you can always go to everfi.com/K12 and you will be able to access all of our resources. We are completely free of cost. And we focus on courses that you will find around financial education to social emotional to health and wellness, a little bit of everything that you would think about as you want your students to be successful now and in the future. Everything that you would dive into today can be found under our browse courses, and you can take a look at the descriptions of each of our courses here. Two that I will dive into a little bit later, if you want to check them out as we're going through, is Ignition, which is our digital wellness and safety course. And no, they did not name that character after me, but I'll take it. Totally. And then another one that is sponsored by the NFL and United Way. This is one that character Playbook is going to be around the social emotional piece and mental health that also goes into digital wellness. So that's just a high level overview of EVERFI. Everything is student facing. And it is all modular learning, say that 3 times fast, so that teachers can have conversations with their students around these 15 to 20-minute chunks of information where the students are going through similar situations and navigating this space. So before I dive into any of the specifics there, I want to pass it over to Jennifer just to tell you a little bit about Common Sense.
Thank you, Alyssa. So if you're not familiar with Common Sense Education and our platform, we are really well known for our K-12 digital citizenship curriculum. Turnkey resources starting from professional development to classroom curriculum to family engagement resources. And it covers all topics that you see here. We have these little buckets. So you can see we focus on media balance and well-being. We focus on privacy and security, digital footprint and identity, relationships and communication. And then the last two you see there are cyberbullying, digital drama, and hate speech, as well as news and media literacy. And so you can see there's all kinds of things here to help you get started with creating a culture of digital citizenship in your classroom, your school, or your district.
I love that news literacy and that media piece. Is that a newer piece of content for you all, or have you always done that?
It's not. We've always had these 6 topic areas, and over the course of time, we have since then sort of branched out. So this is what our foundational standing K-12 curriculum, but as we get into the conversation a little further, you'll start to see some complementary activities, resources, and toolkits that go along with the topics that you see here.
Very cool. So important.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Something for everyone.
I know, that's what I was really looking at too, a little bit of everything
that you wear in your school.
Yes. And I'm even
really
thinking about that media balance piece. I'm like, all right, let me go through that and see how I can stop scrolling on Instagram and TikTok all day long. So really important. Great. So just to kick it over real quick, we too want to talk about just the passion of digital literacy, thinking about that mental health piece, and really how both of our tools can collaborate together so that you are continuing to have these conversations with your students, and then also taking that information home with them. How do they continue to put forth the education so that their family members are understanding it, so that this is something that doesn't live in a grade level, it starts to be part of a lifetime piece of habits. So I wanted to dive in quickly, first starting with our kind of mainstay. You might have known this one over the years, where Ignition was very focused on just understanding, what is the internet? How does this work, right? We're deep into that. We're good now. We know how that all works. But now what does it mean while you're communicating through text? What does that mean for that balance piece? How do you build a community that is safe and that students are creating a digital footprint that when they're applying to colleges, when they're applying for jobs, all of these pieces of information are, protected, and also making sure that they're representing themselves of who they are. So if you go into, when you have access to EVERFI, if you sign up as a teacher at everfi.com/create, you'll be able to go in and actually view the course and go through it as if you were a student. And you'll see that this course is made up of multiple lessons, again, 15 to 20 minutes long. You can move the students through any of the lessons that you would like. So if you want to start on that kind of rights and literacy piece, if they're creating TikToks, how do you make sure that they're protected and they're not using music or mentioning people that they shouldn't have? My favorite by far is definitely the evaluating content piece. How do we take what we're reading through our devices and evaluating if all the information is true? When the students go through these lessons, you'll hear a little something.
Meet Jorge. He loves keeping up with news on his phone and has it set up to notify him about specific topics.
So you'll see that it is audio based. So make sure you have some headphones on you. But this will all be walking the students through different situations with characters that look and feel like them. And they will navigate these spaces and see what the consequences are, what the benefits are of the choices that they may make. In tandem with that, so this ignition course could be used anywhere from upper elementary to middle school. In tandem with that, we love looking at our character playbook that has kind of that Marvel feel. So it has that cartoonish feel, but this is a little more advanced. So I would say your upper middle school, your 8th, even your 9th and 10th grade, navigating those influences that they're going to find online and then managing their emotions. We know the toll that the last couple of years have taken on our students, both socially and mentally. And so this again is allowing them that safe space to learn from other characters and support friends, as opposed to when the kids say, I'm in the middle of the conflict. I don't want to be that person. I want to support other people. So those are just high levels, but I wanted to highlight and share it over to Jennifer because she has some really cool tools that I think take the learning off of the screen. So you have the students working on these modular lessons, and then what do they do kind of afterwards?
Absolutely. I need to check out that character playbook.
Yeah, it's cool.
That looks kind of neat, and like meeting the kids where they're at, meeting students where they're at with the whole Marvel feel. I love that.
Yeah, it's a cool one.
Although I don't know if I'm a more Marvel fan or more a like Spider-Man, Batman. I'm sorry, Batman and
I know.
those folks.
What's the other one? Yeah, so it's Marvel and, oh, that'll come to me.
Yeah, I've blanked out too. I'm so
I
sorry.
know. I like all the
like,
superheroes. I know. Exactly.
We'll get back to you on that.
We'll get to it. It'll come to us.
Yeah, so I introduced the curriculum a little bit, and as Alyssa said, we have some additional resources that, like she mentioned, you could take offline. So one of the things I really want to make sure that we highlight is our digital citizenship. We have dilemmas. So we know, Alyssa, I'm sure you can relate to this, how many of our young people and adults are grappling with digital dilemmas. You know, these situations that are very gray, you know, there's no right or wrong answer to them, and the solutions can be very sticky, right? And so with these digital dilemmas, we're hoping to move more away from the consequent-based model to more of a skills, dispositions, like those terms where we're really starting to try to build habits for our students and our kids and even ourselves, you know, because when something bad happens, you know, whether you're on social media and you know, a terrible photo gets shared, or a video that makes you uncomfortable gets shared, or you come across fake accounts, setting boundaries for yourself. These are all digital dilemmas that unfortunately trickle into our classrooms. And you know that there are going to be very little learning occurring when they're so distracted by what's happening with their friends, their circle of friends, their community of friends on these social platforms, especially in the middle and high school. And so we have these, what we're calling digital dilemmas, and we have 3 areas. So the one area of dilemma is your digital habits, your media balance. It's setting boundaries, right? And making sure you're just as healthy offline as you are online. The next one is feelings and options. So this really ties in a lot of that SEL when it comes to communicating and building relationships online, making sure these are healthy relationships. You know, make sure you're surrounding yourself in these online spaces with folks that make you feel comfortable, that they are your friends. And just being mindful of like the red flags that happen on social media and working through those. And then the last one is take a stand. So it's really about the civic engagement. And I love to focus on this one because we want to make sure that we understand it's okay to disagree with folks and have a different perspective, but it's not okay to be mean about it. And you know, and try to find that empathy. Like, I'll disagree with you, but I also understand your perspective. And so showing kids, instead of being mean or snapping or jumping to a conclusion, how to work through these processes in a thinking routine. And so I'm going to just show you the educator guide has a whole test bank, a whole bank of dilemmas as examples that you can use. Fortunately or unfortunately, you probably have your own dilemmas that are real dilemmas that you can pop in here to the conversation, whatever works best for you, but we at least have something to get started with. And so you can see here, this one's about a fake account. So it's just a quick paragraph, quick story, just to kind of set the stage. Hey, this is the dilemma. Let's work through this. And then we have a handout. It's a template. And this is what the thinking routine looks like. And so what we want the students to do is teacher-led, facilitating this conversation where, okay, let's identify who are the folks involved. So that would be maybe who posted the picture, who liked the picture, who was in the picture. So thinking about, all the folks involved and what is this actual dilemma or challenge that's kind of working everybody up. Feel, this is a good part, getting them to think about perspectives. How do you think that person's feeling in the picture? How is the person feeling that posted the picture, and how are the bystanders feeling viewing it? Like, should I like it? Should I not like it? Should I share it? I did share it. I shouldn't have shared it. There's so many things going on. So if you can bring it together and talk about it. And then the last piece is what I love is the solution based. So imagining options, come up with as many ideas as you can, right? To think about how can we think of a positive outcome to this where everybody walks away feeling like they were taken care of, they feel good about it, and life can go on. So getting kids to talk about that and getting students to think about, I'd be okay with just taking it down. Please just take it down, right? Resolved. And that might be okay. It might not have been serious, and just remove it, please. And then you have to think about how you're going to do this. Is it face-to-face? Is it a meeting? Is it private message? Is it email? So getting them to come up with those solutions. And I think the more and more you do this across time, it starts to build these habits of who it's going to impact. By me doing this, who am I going to affect? How's this going to make others feel? Is this a positive thing on me? Does this make me look good? And so on. So these are really great templates to have in your back pocket, bookmark. When these things come up, it's really just nice to have a conversation piece, because as teachers and educators, we don't always have to have the answers. And I think that's some of what we're feeling like. I can't approach this because I don't know what the right answer is. Well, guess what? Unfortunately, there's not a right answer. But as a teacher, if you can build that culture of just kids feeling safe in your room to share and, build out these perspectives, I think it helps. So anyway, these are the templates. This is our guide. We have a whole toolkit there. A lot of places that I'm finding this, Alyssa, is educators at the middle school and high school, because it's so course-based. So advisory periods, this is a really great part to use these in advisory periods. If you have any PBIS initiatives, SEL initiatives, social emotional learning initiatives, these fit really well, because it's about, they can range from 20-minute conversations or longer, depending on severity, depending on your time, depending on how much the students get into it, but they can be very quick. And I think these are really great. You probably come across this with educators that are hesitant. I don't know if I want to go down this DigSit path. I don't have time to go down this DigSit path. It's really not my role. This is a good entry point to say, hey, it's not curriculum. It's not, this heavy thing you have to take on. These are just like daily things that are affecting your students and their learning sometimes. So if you could pull one of these out and walk through it with them, you could really be helping them resolve some things. And so that's something I always try to let teachers know, like it's a good starting point if you're just getting your feet wet with conversations about these things.
Yeah. Yeah, I see these a lot as like bell ringers, right? These are maybe Monday morning. So we know after the weekend, sometimes things can occur either in person, over text, on social media. So just starting that routine of maybe talking about a dilemma, and it doesn't even have to be related to something that happened. It can just be, okay, it's Monday, let's kind of set the tone. I can also see this as maybe like a Monday morning, you go through this dilemma, then maybe you go through an EVERFI lesson, and then Friday you go back to that dilemma and you say, is there a way that you would approach this differently? Or maybe over the week you kind of thought about some of these dilemmas. How would I do this? And very similar to probably what you've been hearing too, is that students will talk about it when it's not themselves, when it's other people and other
Absolutely.
suggestions and characters. Like it's much easier to dig a little bit deeper there.
Yep. They're grappling with a lot. They really are. And if we as the adults can model and share and meet them and show them, it's so much easier at the end of the day to be proactive than
Mhm.
to step back and just say, shut it down, I'm done.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, everybody's different, everybody's culture is different. There's different, things you have to consider. But at the end of the day, we have to be teaching these skills and dispositions in order for them to be thinking in the right direction, because this doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Adults grapple with digital
Yes.
drama.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's you're going to come across it, whether it's a blog you follow or a text chain or whatever the case, you're going to come across things where it feels like a dilemma and you have to take a stand,
Mhm.
comment, whatever the problem is. So we have to equip them with these skills.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned too, like as an adult, right, there's parent pieces, right, to help
Yes.
navigate these conversations at home too, correct?
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen real quick again. I'm sorry, I should not have stopped, but I do
Okay.
want to point out in our in the digital citizenship, so the landing page for the dilemmas, you go to our tab, digital life dilemmas, and then our landing page. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, I want to pull these out. Sorry, back up. You want to go to the SEL and Digital Life Resource Center. And these are another batch of quick activities you can do, by grade band on social emotional learning, with digital life. So again, these things that kids are grappling with in digital spaces. But at the very bottom, we have English and Spanish versions of these like conversation starters for parents and families, caregivers.
Awesome.
So like the little like note card feeling type things where, okay, how to talk to your child about, avoiding the effects of oversharing.
Yes.
So hey, because parents want to talk about it, they just don't know what they don't know.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
sometimes you just need those starters, like at the dinner table, on the way to practice, taking a walk, waiting for the bus, wherever you communicate with your child. These are really great ways to connect with them and communicate with them. Talk about our digital habits, both personally, at school, at the home. And so these I think are really good too. And I'm sure, like, all of our stuff is hyperlinked. So you can post all of these things in your parent portals,
Yeah.
right? Your Seesaws of the world, your LMSs, your Schoology, your Classroom, Google Classroom. So it's a really great way to communicate with families with just these like easy things they can do at home.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Maybe like putting it in the car and just having it there during pickup line, while you're waiting for your food, like something to have
Exactly. I
it. Yeah.
mean, it doesn't have to feel
Right.
heavy, is what I hope for families. You
Yes.
don't have to stop life and have this conversation. Like it's just everyday life because we're all doing everyday things.
Right. Yeah. And like you said, we model it, right? We may not notice that we're on our
Very
phones more
important.
than we need to be.
Always.
So this will be, a good reminder. I love that. I think the parent piece is huge as well. And I noticed too, we have resources for that middle school through high school band, but I noticed that you have elementary pieces too. So that's really, really helpful to start it as early as possible.
Our littlest learners with SEL and digital life, I mean, they really are getting on these devices in kindergarten, and it's okay, right? If we're
Right.
using these properly and the purpose and we're being intentional about it, but we just got to make sure we're taking care of them and showing them the right way.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, this was wonderful. I can't wait to dive into everything. What we'll do is we'll definitely drop in the comments here. You'll have our links to everything, but we want you to go ahead and get back to your day, but know that we are here to support you. So we will also drop in our contact information. Any questions that you have, any ideas that you may have that you've used Common Sense and EVERFI together, or maybe a new idea that you've gotten from this, please let us know. We are here at EVERFI integrated with Clever. So if that's something that you're interested in, we have local implementation specialists that can help you set that up. They can also help you with all of your standards alignments and really getting comfortable in the classroom. And since we are here on Facebook, please join our Facebook educator groups. here at EVERFI, ours is Educator Resources for Real World Learning. And then Jennifer, yours is?
Common Sense Educators. So we'll throw that link in there too. It's a beautiful community of everybody, you know, like-minded folks all trying to do the same thing across their classrooms. And so it's a great PLN.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not a lot of time during the day to talk and to collaborate, but there's something about a group that just has different perspectives from all over the world that really can collaborate together. So thanks for creating that space. This was wonderful. I'm going to go check out everything and just see what else is new.
I took some old school notes because that's who I am. That probably labels my generation.
I like it. Wait a second.
I was taking a couple of notes.
Is that a flare pen? Is it a colored
no,
pen?
It's not even cool. It's just a clicky pen. Yeah,
right,
not cool.
Perfect. I was going to say I have my flare pen with me here too. I love it. Fabulous. Well, thank you so much for your time today. It was great speaking to you. And thanks for all you're doing for educators and students across the globe.
Likewise, Alyssa. We've been partners for, gosh, decades now, and it's been great. It's been great. So I hope to do this again.
Yes. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.